Hi, I'm Arexi Pukanikan, and we've been balling today, tomorrow, and most definitely yesterday for 100 episodes. Let's go! It's officially 100. I think if I know how to count to 100. Yeah. Thank you for sticking with me. Thank you for joining me on this ride. Not anything particularly special from my behalf. I just want to thank God. I just want to thank my parents. I want to thank my mom and dad, my grandma, my grandpa, and my godfather and my godfather's kids who are very supportive. And, God, Mary, Jesus, Joseph, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for joining me in on this ride. Yeah, nothing special. Nothing particularly special. I'm going to keep on going. We're going to keep on balling. Stay balling at what cost? That's kind of the only message I'm really trying to get across. But of course, each episode has its own takes, and the takes will continue. Let's say that maybe the formats or stuff like that might change a little bit. Of course, it's always changing. I mean, if you haven't noticed, the setup in itself has changed. Now I have a proper camera tripod finally. So now the angle is even switched up a little bit. Of course, I can do a little bit better with the lighting, but this is an audio form content, even though, I put it on YouTube. So thank you. Thank you for joining in with me. And thank you, Liam, for a very short-lived Formula One career. Because that's what Formula One is. It took me so long to finally understand what Formula One is about. But I think I finally cracked the code. I think it is, look at these rich, handsome dudes with big-ass balls. Look at how much they suck. Honestly, fuck these guys. Fuck these rich, attractive 20-year-olds are such losers because they drive their car a second slower than the other guy. So fuck you. That's what I've gotten out of this Liam Lawson, Yuki Tsunoda situation. It's just, of course, the complaining never stops because that's just the modern day and age. Complaining is way more popular than celebrating. Okay, whatever. But what Red Bull has managed to do in terms of, let's just say, the press, the media, not the actual details, of course, we're never gonna really find out about the inner workings of Red Bull and all the fucking corporate sponsorship stuff, right? But in terms of how Liam Lawson, who's 23 years old, Yuki Tsunoda, who's 24, it really is a little bit like, hey, like, are they bad people? Is Liam Lawson a bad person? That's what we got to ask. Is he a bad person for not being able to drive? Hey, guys, we gave Checo a whole goddamn season, bro. That's all I'm trying to say, yo. We get right. And in some ways, I guess, in some ways now, it's like a fucking never-ending loop, this Red Bull thing, which is kind of what I'm leading to too, because I've always been a loyal customer of Red Bull. I've always thought that if there is an energy drink I should consume, it should be Red Bull each time. There is no variation. I'm a Chinese man. A Chinese man really. Loyalty is a big thing in Chinese culture, and it's a trait that I have. So I've been very loyal to Red Bull for a long time, especially with, the last half decade with Max Verstappen winning so much in F1. It was hard not to root for Red Bull the whole time. Red Bull has a great reputation. I was always a fan. But now, I don't know. I mean, look at the F1 team monster sponsors, McLaren. I'm not saying McLaren's press is like, squeaky clean. I mean, Norris has his, slight slip-ups, but of course, he's just being a fucking human being. But McLaren's vibe is awesome. Team Papaya, Papaya Army, whatever. Everyone's down with that. Everyone was down with been down with Monster because, Lewis Hamilton was repping Monster for a while until they went to McLaren as a sponsor. Yeah, it's weird. It's really weird in terms of, because obviously I'm a big fan of energy drinks just because of action sports too. Energy drinks sponsor a lot of action sports. And, I used to go to the skate park all the time. So, Red Bull and Monster were always things that I would consume. But now, after what they've done with Yuki Tsunoda and Liam Lawson, I'm questioning everything because, of course, I'm already Team Oscar Piastri. That guy is Australian Jesus, right? And to be fair, from my eyes, he's not even a 20-year-old. You know what I'm saying? Like, his aura has far exceeded his actual age. You know what I'm saying? This guy's a legend in the history books already. Like, this guy. But in terms of Liam Lawson and Yuki Tsunoda being in this Red Bull bubble, right? First of all, Red Bull fucked up, right? That was the big news during the off season when they decided to go with Liam Lawson instead of Yuki Tsunoda. They fucked up. Everybody was like, doesn't Yuki have more experience? And, everything in terms of achievements has been pointing towards Yuki over Liam. They went with Liam. That is already the biggest fuck up they did, right? So then when you commit to something after 2 weeks, after 2 rounds in F1, you have already broken your commitment. I don't care what the fucking contract said, right? You made us wait. As fans, you made us wait for so long. We were expecting Yuki Tsunoda. And then you flipped the fucking script. You signed Liam Lawson. I was a fan of Liam Lawson. I was all right with the decision. Surprising, but I was all right with it. Then you have 2 rounds where Liam Lawson surprises everyone with his underperformance. Again, first full season in F1. Who knows how much time he's spent like actually practicing. Of course, probably multiple days upon days on the simulator, but of course the simulator is still not anything close to the fucking real deal. 2 rounds, dude. You give my boy 2 rounds in like 2 redonkulously technical tracks too. Australia is a thing of its own. The conditions were crazy. You left the fucking guy out in the wet with dry tires on for Australia. Okay, China wasn't. Okay. The qualifying, the Saturdays didn't pan out the way Liam would have wanted to. And all Liam really said was, this is not his words, but this paraphrasing just a little bit. After China, he kind of goes like, this is this is fucked up. I've been fucking up, but you gotta give me some time, dude. And Yuki's doing his own thing. Like, he's like, he had an unfortunate Chinese GP where his fucking wing broke off in the DRS, I think. Really weird. But then now we go to the Japanese Grand Prix, which is like the main part of why I think this decision was made. I think if the Japan Grand Prix wasn't round 3, and if it was round 12, I think this situation would not even be a thing right now. But it's the fact that after 2 rounds, after a doubleheader, season has officially started. We got 2 races. 2 race weekends. And then we have 1 week break, and then Japanese Grand Prix. It's Honda's last year in Formula 1, man. And this is a fact that this is I don't know where it's documented. This might not be a fact. I'm just saying it. This is fact. This is logic and facts. Honda were probably not happy with Red Bull picking Liam Lawson over Yuki Tsunoda, but they're like, all right, fine. But that was the whole thing. Liam Lawson did what he did for those 2 rounds, and then all of a sudden, Honda's going like, hey, now you can make us a little happier. Right, which I understand. Like, in a marketing perspective, this is great. We gotta try something new. We really want to be in the championship fight. Dude, let's just stop the cap. Red Bull have no chance of winning the Constructors' Championship this year. Even with Ferrari double disqualifying after a Sunday race day. That is the fucking fact right now. All right? What I want to get this message across is everyone that has anything negative to say about Liam Lawson, you should take it back, swallow your words. You should be on your knees thanking Liam Lawson for underperforming, right, for 2 rounds, because if it wasn't for all the negative press that this 23-year-old New Zealand dude is catching, if it wasn't for him, then everyone would be bashing the fuck out of Ferrari right now. Because I think if anyone's really fucking up, it's Ferrari, dude. Because how is Lewis Hamilton gonna get the pole position for sprint quali, win the goddamn sprint race, which is already enough for the press to go like, Lewis Hamilton wins race for Ferrari. Wins race, Lewis Hamilton wins race, 2 races, 1 race in, whatever it is. And then the day, 24 hours, or maybe less, a little bit more, 24, the next day, when Lewis Hamilton had won the sprint race, Chinese Grand Prix, then, Leclerc and Hamilton finished the race on Sunday, which is already the positions that they were originally finished was already a little lackluster, right? Considering the Ferrari Lewis Hamilton just won the sprint race. And then bada bing, bada boom, Charles Leclerc, Lewis Hamilton, both drivers disqualified. Complete out. Finito. Cooked. Chat. Ferrari's cooked. They were done. Done. Really think about it. Yes, sprint race win. Great. Whoa. Press but it's just like, dude, isn't that goddamn embarrassing? Because now I'm almost thinking, like, how the fuck did Hamilton even win sprint race? Where did all the pace go? Within 24 hours. Where did all the fucking pace go? Where'd it go? What are you guys doing with the cars, man? Does Vasseur know about this shit? I know those Frenchmen are slick, but I thought they were at least fucking, they got integrity. And I'm not accusing nothing of nothing, but the Formula One community really got to fucking take a little bit of a perspective change. And I'm so sorry I'm aggressive tonight, but it's just, I did stand up last night. It got a little wild, got a little spontaneous, got back home real late. I slept 3 hours last night. I'm a little bit ticked off. Even though this is episode 100, I should be like, oh my God, like I started, I want to thank God. No, everyone should thank Liam fucking Lawson, dude. This 23-year-old that is literally taking all the fucking negative press after 2 rounds in the Formula One 2025 season. And guess what? It's not going to stop here. Oh, dear Lord, it's not going to stop here, because let's just think about this real quickity quick. All right. Going into the Japanese Grand Prix, right? I could talk about this next week, but I'm deciding that I'm not going to, because UFC 314 is next weekend too. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. Here's the scenarios that could possibly happen, which if it happens, I'm going to be like, you know what? My loyalty with Red Bull here ends, and it's Team Monster. It's Team Papaya. Monster, one of the main UFC sponsors. They sponsor fucking this Finnish snowboarder called Rene Rinnekangas came out with probably the most beautiful fucking snowboarding video I've ever seen in my goddamn life. Let alone scratch that, one of the most beautiful action sports videos I've ever seen in my fucking life. Check it out if you haven't. It's called Heaven. 20-minute video. Monster produced that fucking, or funded that fucking thing. Monster's doing shit right now. And Red Bull doesn't, and it might not be Red Bull. But maybe Christian Horner, maybe that's what happens when you're not getting that much spice from your spice lady wife anymore. Because, you're doing some devious shit, possibly. And then maybe you get a little mad. Maybe you let this Helmut Marko guy, who is, bro, what's that guy doing in F1, bro? Like, I get it, you got to keep some OGs around, but this guy ain't no motherfucking Niki Lauda. I mean, he made one goddamn right call in his fucking life. Or 2. I'll give him credit for 2. He made the right call with Max Verstappen. He made the right call with Carlos Sainz. That's it. And then otherwise, he's just fucking ruining these 20-year-olds. Forever, dude. Forever. So, sorry, I'm going on a little bit of a tangent, but these are the 2 scenarios in which my loyalty with Red Bull ends after Japanese Grand Prix. Here are the two. Just imagine. Yuki's Red Bull blows up. Like the engine blows up. The Honda engine. Just imagine the scenes if in Japan the Honda engine gives out while the Japanese driver is behind the wheel. Dude, I feel like that whole country might just freaking kamikaze themselves if that happens, dude. Because, Chinese and Japanese, we have our history, but we're very similar in the way that we fucking, dude, if we'll carry that goddamn shame. You know what I'm saying? And that shit is like, and simply, I mean, that was like a big red button, the worst case scenario of all time, if that would happen. But let's just think a little bit. Hey, what if what Max Verstappen said is true, which is the Racing Bulls Formula One car is easier to drive and handle than the Red Bull F1 car? What if Max Verstappen was telling the truth and fucking racing Liam hops back on in the car that he's had more experience in? Yuki, God knows what kind of practice Yuki's had with that setup of the Red Bull Formula One car. I think the possibility of Liam Lawson finishing the Sunday race above Yuki Tsunoda is not an impossibility. Actually, right now, I'm leaning towards that's most likely what's going to happen, which will just completely fucking expose Red Bull and whatever they're doing with their drivers. Because that's what really ticks me off about this whole situation. It's like there's no commitment. You got to commit, man. I respected them when they committed to Checo the whole fucking time. I was like, fuck yeah. They're sticking with the boy. Fucking Canadian GP. They extended his shit, which was also just like fucking hilarious timing. But guys, can we commit to something? I mean, Red Bull, your biggest, the most views you get is when these guys commit to fucking jumping out of a plane and going through a tower and then freaking bungee jumping and doing a BMX trick, right? That's what you got. It's the fact that you commit so fucking hard, and because you commit so fucking hard, it's so fucking cool. That's what Red Bull is about. What is this? What is this? We give 23-year-old New Zealand guy a fucking opportunity. We commit to him. Nope. It's weird out here in F1 world, man. Team Papaya. I might just have to fucking go Team Papaya because this fucking other guy is a savage. Hey, who won the actual race that actually matters with the actual points given out? Oscar Piastri. Because guess what? Like I said, this guy was pissed off after round one. He fired himself up. Simple. I knew it. I knew as soon as he finished, fucking P9, P8 in Australia. I knew it. It's done. He's winning in China. It's done. Because Oscar Piastri, he's got the same characteristic as Max Verstappen. He don't care. He doesn't care about all the external blah-bitty-blah. Nah. All he cares about is racing that goddamn car, man, and it's beautiful. I think Oscar Piastri was down 20-something points after round one, after Australia, and it was necessary for him to bounce back. He knew it. I knew it. Everybody knew it. And he just bounced back. That's as simple as that. It was like as soon as he did it, he knew what he had to do in order to fix the situation. Does well on the sprint race, finishes and wins the Grand Prix on Sunday. Now only down 10 points to the Drivers' Championship leader, which is Lando Norris. 10 points ain't nothing. 10 points is really nothing, especially when, we're only going into round 3. And I feel like when there's, on the faster tracks, I think Lando Norris is better. Lando Norris got a slightly better pace when it's high speeds, But I think medium to low speeds, I think pace-wise, Oscar Piastri got the edge. So honestly, from now on, if I see the circuit and it's more technical, I'm going to say Oscar Piastri has the upper edge. If it's a little bit less technical, a little bit more straights or just high-speed corners and stuff, I'm going to go with Lando Norris. That's it. Made my call. I think the McLaren is the fastest car out there, at least consistently. What Oscar Piastri is doing right now is, again, almost unbelievable, like my boy JC. He's going to be cool, calm, and collected. And, Oscar Piastri, seen enough after round 2. 2025 season Drivers' Champion. There you go. It's, like, I don't even doubt it. Like, it's done. Set in stone. Also, what's set in stone, George Russell's a savage. Nobody really knew where Mercedes was going to be. I mean, of course, they have a great team there that always tries to get everything out of the car every weekend. It's very organized with Mercedes. That's always been the vibe of that paddock. Of course, Kimi Antonelli, very aggressive driver in terms of just racing and just raw pace, but George Russell, kind of the opposite, very cool, calm, collected. I'm not saying Kimi Antonelli isn't, but George Russell with the experience, and he's got that finesse. He's got that little secret sauce he always sprinkles every time he goes out on the track, and it's worked out, and he fucking just done what he needs to do every single time so far. 2 races, 2 podium finishes. That's what I'm talking about. That's Mr. Consistent right there. That's that George Russell. Like people say, he's got that old money kind of look, man. What's a characteristic of old money? It's consistent. It's consistent. It's always going to be there. And George Russell, always going to be there. Oh, baby. When everyone else is somewhere in La La Land, George Russell is going to be there taking advantage. And guess what? You want to talk about consistency, competitive pace? Lance Stroll? Who's this rookie Fernando Alonso, dude? Get him out of here, bro. 2 races, 2 DNFs. Get him out of here, bro. He's washed, bro. Lance Stroll, dude. You guys don't know about Lance Stroll, dude. Actually very surprising. So fucking good on Lance Stroll. Fucking incredible. Alex Albon, same thing. Shout out to him. While Sainz it hasn't gone his way yet. It hasn't. It will. It's weird for him too, because he went from a Mercedes engine to a Ferrari engine, and then he finally got used to the Ferrari engine, and then had to switch back to the Mercedes engine. And I'm sure the Williams have a bit of an alternative setup to their car compared to all the other Merc cars. So shout out to Carlos Sainz, of course, always. I mean, he's the Spanish Jesus. If Oscar Piastri is the Australian Jesus, but Alex Albon, the Asian Jesus. I mean, let's just be honest here. All the Asian drivers that are on the grid, you have Yuki Tsunoda, and then last year with Zhou Guanyu, Alex Albon, number 1 chink in my books. And he's an actual chink when he's got a chink girlfriend. Very surprised. That's always been my ultimate respect for Alex Albon, because you'd assume that they just, they got to get themselves that pretty rich white girl. But no, this guy found himself a fucking athletic Asian lady. Fucking wonderful. That is what I'm talking about. Stop Asian hate. Fucking yellow love, whatever you Call it. But yeah, dude, that's what. Hey, man, and I got nothing negative against Yuki Tsunoda either, or Honda, or nothing. Again, hashtag yellow love. We all about that, but it's just, yeah, man, Red Bull. I'm a little bit disappointed because I am a real fan of Red Bull as a fucking company, as the fucking Formula One team. I always thought that Christian Horner was, I mean, like, out of all the team principals, I thought he always had a little bit of swagger to him, married a spice lady, and really is relentless in terms of his passion for F1. But I don't know, dude, maybe things are, this chapter is soon coming to a close, but who knows? Team Papaya is kind of where I'm going with now, because and also the whole thing with, like, PR wise, it's just a fucking hellhole. The only guy who's actually giving you, like, not positive, but like the real press, the real shit, is Max Verstappen. But then you guys kind of want to censor his ass all the time. Hey, dude, again, it's just, we're talking about market value. We're talking about all this shit, right, as well. We got to consider it. Just let Max Verstappen carry y'all asses for reals for one season, okay? He been carrying y'all asses in terms of fucking, winning. But now let him do the work. It's going to be real fucking difficult for him to win anything. So let him just express his opinion. I think he's deserved it, right? Of course, I think Yuki Tsunoda deserves a seat, in the Red Bull. But I just think you guys need to fucking start looking at this a little bit more realistically, okay? These are 20-year-old dudes, and yeah, they might be, wealthy, they might be attractive, they might have a big cojones. But let's just treat them like human beings. Let's treat them like 20-year-olds. The weirdest thing about all of this is, like, they're just young 20-year-olds, right? Most of the time when it's teenagers, they get a pass, right? You're lucky that Kimi Antonelli is this fucking kind of just like a race nerd kid. Like, it doesn't seem like he's much of this, like, he's not really concerned about image or anything like that. So Formula One, man. Formula One, I think you guys got to shape this thing a little bit more differently, because right now it looks like you guys are just bullying a bunch of kids instead of, working with reputable men that could possibly hold up the market value to a 10-year LVMH deal. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not, I don't think 20 to 25-year-olds are necessarily buying Hennessy or Moet. Or necessarily even Louis Vuitton. I think Louis Vuitton is more like maybe late 20s, more 30s vibe. So let's get this together. Let's get this show back on the road next week. What else we got? We got a UFC fight night this weekend in Mexico. I think Mexico City. We got a UFC fight night. Main event, we got Brandon Moreno versus Steve Erceg. I think this is going to be a Brandon Moreno masterclass. Nothing against Steve. I think this is going to go the distance, but it's going to be one of those classic 5-round masterclass performances from Brandon Moreno. Drew Dober in the co-main as of right now, which is kind of weird. I'd assume Kelvin Gastelum and Joe Pyfer might be co-main, but I think it has something to do with Manuel Torres Mexican UFC fighter, going against Drew Dober for the co-main event. UFC in Mexico. We got UFC 314 next week. Yeah, of course, Japanese Grand Prix next week as well. I feel like I'll touch up a little bit more with the predictions and everything like that next week, of course. But had to get my little Red Bull rant out of the way. I think y'all got to chill with how y'all talking about Liam Lawson or Yuki Tsunoda or anyone, because really it's the people running the show who should be held responsible, or they should be catching that flack, if anything. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I need to pee very badly, and I feel like I got everything out my system. Thank you so much for 100 episodes. I thank Areksipukanikan for 100 episodes. I thank all the ballers for 100 episodes. I know hopefully one day the ballers will recognize this show for what it is, which is just realistically looking at the cost of balling. And I think, if anything, we kind of got that message across in terms of the Formula One, Red Bull, Liam Lawson, Yuki Tsunoda balling at what cost situation. That's just the real deal, man. Everyone's the real deal, except for Red Bull, maybe. Hopefully one day I'll be the real deal. Hopefully one day I'm gonna be balling with the real ballers. Anyways, I'm Alexi Pukanikan. Thank you once again. 100 episodes. Balling at what cost? Please stay balling. I'll see you guys next week.